Hey guys, how's it going? Colin here with Schmitty's Off-Road. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're bringing on a new machine to the channel. Might be an RZR killer, I don't know. I'll let you guys decide. But today we're gonna go over some of the accessories that are on this new machine. It's actually my dad's, so you might have seen it in a few other videos, kind of chilling in the background. We're gonna go ahead and go over the accessories he's got on it and compare his versus my Pro XP. We've got pretty similar accessories just because we do ride the exact same trails. So I just have to have 80 more horsepower to do so. I think it's a little more fun, but this KRX does get up and go. So stick around, I'm gonna show you guys what he's done to it and let you guys decide what you think. And drop a comment down below if you guys wanna see some more competitions between these two. I'm thinking drag racing, rock climbing, trail rides, whatever. So let me know in the comment section below what you want me to do next, and we'll get to it. Like I said, my dad's got the 2020 Kawasaki KRX 1000. He's had it for a little over a year and a half now. I think he bought it March of 2020. He's got about 1,500 miles on it, so it's got quite a bit on it. He's definitely broke it in. So we'll kind of do something similar to how I did my review of my Pro XP. We'll kind of start at the front, work our way back, and go from there. So a couple things right off the bat. Doesn't have a whole lot done to the front, but these A-arms, you will know if you have a Kawasaki that they replaced them from the factory after the initial ones came out. So the early 2020 models, and I believe 2019 if they made them then, they didn't have this little knob here, and a lot of times the knuckle here would turn if it was like full lock, and the suspension would compress. It could actually snap this knuckle and you'd be out on the trail screwed. And his didn't have these upgraded A-arms, so he took it in and got the factory to replace them free of charge. So that was kind of nice. If you look on your Kawasaki and you do not have this little nub here, the steering stop, I would definitely contact your local dealer, have them swap that out for you. This machine came with these tires, so they're 31-inch carnivores, same ones that are on the Pro, but these ones are 30s. Comes with bead locks, which is super nice. I wish Polaris would do that on their ultimate machine, but they don't, so it is what it is. He's got these fender flares. These are AJ's fender flares. I believe, yeah, AJ Wildcat or something like that. I'll add his name here, but they're not bad. They're not too big, which is kind of what my dad was going for, not too gaudy looking. But the only complaint, well, there's two complaints. The first one is they stop right here. So a lot of times your tire's gonna fling mud up still. Well, that fender doesn't cover that like the rock block does. The rock block goes all the way up to the front. These kind of stop. They look clean, but they don't quite work 100% in the front. I think if he would do it again, he'd probably get rock blocks. They're not a whole lot more expensive. And they kind of have the little mud flap down below. They'll hang down a little bit farther, so that kind of makes that nice. The second complaint is how they mount. They're literally just screwed into the fender. There's not really any brackets that go on there. They're just these screws. And he's actually had several of them rip out, I think. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's one screw actually about ready to fall out. So they don't really mount too well to the fender, whereas the rock blocks over here, they have these little clamps or little brackets that kind of sandwich the fender in there. Just mounts a lot nicer. Actually has a lock nut on the back side, so you're not gonna rip those off. If you rip those off, you're ripping a whole fender, whereas these you're just gonna rip the fender flare off. So I guess it's nice if you want to minimize damage, but at the same time they should be able to hold up to a tree, a little bit of tree rub, and these kind of pop screws out. So kind of stinks there, but is what it is. He's got the Kawasaki Nerf Bars, or rock sliders, whatever you want to call them. They are actually super nice for a factory upgrade. Very beefy. Got a nice little step here. Makes it nice to clean the machine. You can kind of get your foot up there and get up here to the top and clean your top down. Kind of look kind of nice. And they are functional. Polaris, if they made these, they would probably be sandwiched up against the machine, but these have nailed some rocks and they are holding shape really well. I think he's pretty happy with these. They do hold quite a bit of mud if you are riding in mud, but I mean, the whole machine's gonna be covered in mud, so what's a little bit extra? We'll go on to the inside. It doesn't have a whole lot done in here. I forgot to mention, full doors from the factory. That is very nice. Polaris, take some hints from Kawasaki. It should at least come with that little back piece that I had to put on. But that's my one complaint, again, with Polaris versus Kawasaki. Full doors should be standard on these machines. On the inside, he's got the Click 6, or that's what Polaris calls them. I'm not 100% sure what Kawasaki calls them, but they're retractable harnesses. Super nice. They lock up in the event that you're rolling or going down a steep hill, whatever. It makes it nice that they do lock up, but you can also be buckled in and reach your glove box, which is super nice. He's got these PRP knee pads. One thing with the Kawasaki is you do hit your knee on there quite a bit, but knee pads make it perfect. I think his favorite upgrade is this EXE Elite, I think it's Elite side-by-side engineering shift gate. Makes it super nice going high to low, move it over, go low to reverse. Similar to my gated shifter I have in the Pro. That one is just a lot cheaper. They haven't really made one like that because the Kawasaki has like an H shift pattern. Polaris is just front to back. So it's kind of harder to do that method. But Viper Machine did come out with a nice one. They've come out with Kawasaki and Polaris, so that is a potential upgrade if you want to go that route. Up here, he's got the MTX soundbar from Super ATV. Super nice, super loud. It tucks up really nice up against the roof. He's used it quite a bit. It's nice having it up above your head. Shoots the sound straight down. You can hear it very clearly. He's got the Kawasaki rearview mirror. It's got the built-in light underneath. Pretty nice. It's battery operated, but gets the job done, and it has a really nice wide angle there. He's got the Kawasaki roof, which is a super nice roof as well. It's kind of similar to my Polaris one. They're just the hard plastic from the factory. I forgot to mention, he has the Diamond S windshield, which is the same as the one that I've got. Super nice, just having the vents on the bottom and up on the top. Made it super nice when we were at the dunes. You can open those up. It's nice if you're leading because you can have those open and you're gonna have a lot of air coming in through here and up here. Kind of helps just recirculate some of the hot air, get it shoved out, get some clean air in there. He's got some Chupacabra off-road or Chupacabra mirrors. These are their Quero mirrors. Pretty nice, they fold back. So hit a tree, they'll fold on you. Not gonna snap off. They have a really nice, wide, kind of concave mirror. Not 100% sure what you would call it, but has a nice curve to it so you can kind of see out around you really well. They've come out with new ones. I think they've got the Quero Pro and the Quero Race. I'll add some pictures here and here. Very nice mirrors. Chupacabra makes some very quality stuff. I kind of want to upgrade to mine, or to some mirrors like this on mine, but I'm not going to do that until mine break, or I really need to upgrade. And then he's got the Rigid Industries cube lights on both sides. Just kind of adds a little bit of extra light to your machine. It's kind of similar. He's got these angled out to the side a little bit, so you're going to get more kind of ditch lighting, I guess is what you would call it. But those are very bright, super nice. The stock Kawasaki headlights are already really nice, super bright, but these kind of help just add a little bit extra light to it. He's got back here, again, the EXE Elite side-by-side engineering frog skin covers. These kind of just help sandwich your frog skin against your intake. He had the issue pretty much right off the bat where it was coming undone up here. So he bought these, kind of just helps keep your frog skin on there, keeps it from coming off. Pretty cheap upgrade, but pretty nice all the same. Let's see here, we'll move on to the back. He's got the same, this is actually my cooler, but he's got one that's identical to this. I just couldn't find it, but we went ahead and made these little brackets here, kind of similar to mine, but he has them going into both of the holes on this Ozark trail cooler, whereas the brackets I have are just a single piece, so it'll just go down into there, where his mounts into both holes. And then we just undid this screw, made a little bracket here, bolts on perfect, super sturdy, and it's not going anywhere. And he's got the Super ATV tailgate. One thing he wants to do with this is get kind of like a little hinge, cut this off, put a hinge in there, so then you can actually hinge this down, kind of open it like an actual tailgate. It's kind of hard to reach all the way up here if you've got something up there, so it'd be nice to be able to pull that tailgate down. Then he's got, you see that little red in there, that's not just paint. He actually made this little bracket, just another flag mount for the dunes. He's got these two up here. These are for his lighted whips. He's got tribal whips on here, which they actually have daytime whips as well that would go into here. But just so he didn't have to unplug and keep doing whip changes when we're at the dunes, he just made himself another little bracket back there. So he's got just one whip back here, and then his two lighted ones that would go into here. Pretty clean look overall. Down here, he has the Emp Hitch, which he's got the ball on it right now for moving trailers around the house. Very sturdy hitch. I think that thing was like 25 pounds or something. I might be exaggerating, but it was a very heavy hitch. Super durable, super strong, pretty nice piece. And then he's got underneath the Super ATV skid plate, 1/2 inch. It's pretty nice. He does have some issues with fitment. He had it kind of up here in the front. Let's see if I can show you, where the skid plate doesn't line up 100%. I mean, there's about 1/4 inch hanging down from this front piece, so that's very prone to catching on rocks. I think the other side, it's hanging down quite a bit. I see right there in the middle, it's hanging down, but it's still not too bad. Nice skid plate. Not quite as good as the factory UTV one, I don't think, but might be impartial just because I paid for the factory UTV and he had Super ATV, but either way, it's better than the stock protection. I think that's about it for the accessories that he's got. I do want to compare a few things. If you guys are questioning which one of these machines you should get, I'm not gonna really make a whole lot of predictions here, or I'm not gonna make a ton of comparisons, but just a couple things that I kind of like better about the Kawasaki versus the Polaris. If I did it again, I'd probably stick with the Polaris just because I like the power and it works well for what I do. But I do have a couple things that I like about the Kawasaki better. It is a 68-inch wide machine from the factory, or that's what they say it is. I think it's really about a 70-inch, where this is 64 from the factory, but comes out to about 66, 68. One thing I like about the Kawasaki better is these trailing arms. From the factory, they are arched and super durable. Polaris is not arched, they're just straight back. And the thing I like about Kawasaki is where they mount is up above the bottom of the frame. So you've got your skid plate down there, and then about 2 inches, and then where your trailing arm mounts. You wouldn't think much of that, but having it tucked up there, you're not gonna be hitting it on rocks. Whereas you come over here, look at Polaris, theirs is hanging down. So that's the lowest part on the machine, is where your trailing arm mounts. Every Polaris that has ever had trailing arms has mounted like this. I do not understand why. It wouldn't be that hard to move that up a little bit, but what do I know? I'm not an engineer for Polaris, but Polaris, take note. Doesn't really make sense to have your trailing arm be your first point of impact, but is what it is. Another thing is the geometry on this for the suspension works very well. I think with the dynamic suspension, if you're in comfort mode, it's going to be just about the same ride as the Kawasaki, but if you hit a bump, you're going to be a lot more likely to bottom out. I mean, it's a comfortable ride, but when you're really using the suspension, it's not near as plush, and you're a lot more prone to bottoming it out. And if you look, Kawasaki, which if you watch Shock Therapy, they go in detail of the suspension on the Kawasaki. It is one of the best working suspensions on an OE or a OEM, whatever platform. It works very well. And I think one of the reasonings, you look at the angle of how that shock is angled back, it makes it actually useful. You can use the full travel of your suspension, and it just works super well. One thing that's nice that Kawasaki does, this is a true dual rate rear shock. The fronts are the same. So it's got this crossover ring in here. So this top spring will compress until it hits that spring there, and that engages the bottom spring. People will often get dual rate and dual springs confused. So this is an actual true dual rate setup. Very nice. Polaris does not do dual rate. You're like, wait, but there's two springs. Yeah, but there's no crossover ring in here. So this is literally acts almost as your crossover. So this spring will compress all the way, and then your bottom spring will engage. This is basically pointless. They pretty much put it on there for rollover testing. They'll put them on there, make sure it doesn't roll, and send it out the door. You can also tell mine are just about fully compressed as is. I'm gonna have to upgrade those, which Kawasaki, they have compressed a little bit, but you're never gonna compress those like these Polaris springs. So another complaint that Polaris does not address, but again, what do I know? So that's pretty much it. If you guys see anything that I didn't go over, drop a comment down below and I'll reply and answer your questions. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I think I'm gonna do some more comparisons out on the trail with these two. I wanna do some hill climbing, some rock climbing, and just general comparisons between the two. They're both very capable in the trails, very controllable, super nice, very quality machines. If you do have any questions, again, drop them down below. If you like what I'm doing, I'd appreciate it. You like and subscribe. I'll have more videos, like I said, coming out for these two machines. I've got a lot of rides planned. So again, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.